What's going on, guys, and welcome back to another episode in my Football Manager series. This is episode number 8. And today we're returning with a brand new season as our second year at Craven Cottage gets underway. Today we'll see what happened in pre-season, the European Championship, and of course, the much-loved transfer special as well. It returns. Let's get straight to it. So if you're a new viewer to the channel, basically in every season opener we take a really detailed look at the transfer window, starting off with the outgoings and then revealing the incomings one by one. It was going to be a crazy transfer window. It was going to be incredibly busy. I discussed it in the season finale. There was going to be a ton of change to our Fulham side. And there definitely was. So we start with the outgoings for the new season. As you can see, lots of players left on free transfers. A lot of young players that I won't bother showing. But there were some noteworthy departures. Quite a few players are out on loan last year that left permanently, such as Lemeshan going to Strasbourg. We sold Cabano to KRC Genk. He was out on loan last year. Seri made his loan deal to Bordeaux a permanent one, 4.7 mil. Kevin McDonald and Cyrus Christie are off to America on free transfers. Totally fine. With that, Stefan Johansson went CSK in Moscow for 3.2 million. So loads of players that were loaned out last year. We haven't decided to retain their services. That was to be expected. And also a couple noteworthy sales as well. You can see Terence Congolo into Aston Villa for 3.7 mil, could rise to 4.5 million. And I actually wanted to retain the services Marcus Bettinelli, son of Vic. Unfortunately, he walked out the door on a free transfer, kind of annoying. But we loaned out Hector to Sheffield Wednesday as well. That's the final year of his contract, so he just gets his salary off the books. Wasn't going to play this season, and we won't be paying his wages. That's paid by Sheffield Wednesday. And also a couple of youngsters left on loan as well. Steven Sessegnon, brother of Ryan's, gone to St Andrews for a one-year loan deal. Looks pretty decent for the future, but not for now. And he was seen at the top as well there. Lewis Ferguson has also been loaned out as well. He's gone to Cincinnati to join Kevin McDonald on a one-year loan. Obviously, signing him last year was apparently our signing of the season. God knows how Connor Roberts got snubbed in favour of Lewis Ferguson, but didn't really play last year. Needs some game time. He should get it in America. So yeah, loads of players leaving the club in the summer. We didn't raise much money for them, but the most important thing, as I discussed it, was just getting their salaries off the books. As for incomings though, lots of new signings. Lots more money getting spent than I wanted, but I think we've slightly improved our Fulham team from last year. Let's reveal them one by one. So 7 new signings, and we'll start off with one you already knew was coming in for this season. Yes, Mario Lemina. His deal was made permanent last season after a one-year loan spell from Southampton. If he played 20 games for us, the deal became permanent, and as you can see, it did indeed for £6 million. He only played 19 league games, but one in the cup saw that clause get triggered. So Lemina in, £6 million. It's a decent transfer fee, but I thought I'd get to negotiate the contract myself. It happened automatically. 55 grand a week. A lot of money. Not going to say I regret it. He's a decent passer of the ball and a decent player, but either way. Next up is a teenage talent. I mean, every single year there's got to be one of them in my transfer windows. I signed this guy from Ipswich Town for a very cheap deal and immediately put him in my under-18s. Generated into the game last year and snapped him up for £500,000 from Ipswich Town. Don't think there's any clauses to that deal. I know 100k, but that's fair enough. That's measly anyway. But this guy is decent for the future. 18 determination, 16 flair. Already 16 passing, 14 first touch, and 15 technique as well. Looks like a pretty decent inverted winger for the future. And yeah, I want some good young talent. If not coming straight through the Fulham Academy, they're at least coming through the under-18. So decent player, very low risk signing, but the upside could be very, very positive. Alright, let's start getting a bit more exciting, shall we? And I teased you with this guy on Twitter last night, and I am buzzing to bring him in. Yes, this is the mystery man I teased on Twitter last night. Roberto Gagliardini has signed from Inter Milan for a dirt cheap transfer of just £5.75 million. Now, this guy has been capped 6 times by Italy, but you know the reason I've brought this guy into my team. We have got so many centre mids here, but I couldn't pass up the chance to get this guy in. Physically, very, very decent, very balanced all across the ball with 14 natural fitness, 16 stamina and 16 strength at 6'2" as well. Very impressive indeed. But whilst technically he's got some decent stats, 16 tackling, 14 for technique and passing as well with 13 first touch, it's mentally where this guy excels. Yeah, you knew I was going to sign someone like this. 15 anticipation, 16 bravery, 15 concentration, 16 determination, but 19 teamwork. This guy works hard for his boys, and 18 work rate as well. Absolutely love this guy's mental stats, and every player needs a team like this. Either as a box-to-box midfielder or a ball-winning midfielder. Looks really decent indeed, and possibly in the latter stage of his career. He's 27 right now, so in his prime, but maybe when he gets into his 30s, at 6'2", with some decent physicals and defensive and mental stats as well. A ball playing centre half, you know I loved him to absolute pieces. But yeah, what a great signing. 5.75 mil, 4-year deal, 47 grand a week. Absolute bargain and exactly the sort of player I wanted. Next up, a player in on loan, and don't worry, unlike last season, I haven't made the same mistake. He's the only loan player we've got, unlike the 10 or however many players we had in on loan last season. He's in as an inverted winger. It's Dan James from Manchester United. Really excited about this signing as well. Now, he burst on the scene at Old Trafford. He looked absolutely fantastic, and of course, he was known for the storming runs down the flank with the electrifying pace he's got. But in the game, as you can see, didn't get that much game time last season, only 6 starts in the Premier League for Red Devils, but as you can see, 3 goals in 16, didn't look too bad, I suppose, in what you would call limited game time at Old Trafford. But Solskjaer's loaned him out, we've snapped him up, paid just under $500,000 for the season as well, plus the weekly wage of 50 grand a week. But again, this guy's got the pace for days, absolutely rapid. And again, last season I talked about it, the inverted wingers / inside forwards in our team were letdowns really. Caballero, Lookman and Onoma didn't really contribute as much as I was hoping, but the guy's got absolutely rapid pace, great mental stats here with a 15 determination, 14 teamwork and 17 work rate as well. And technically, his game does need improving, but he's only 23 years old, so he's got a long way to go. And then on a 1-year loan deal, not expensive at all, contract's okay. Hopefully, he'll be more beneficial than Lookman, Onoma and Caballero were last season. Quite excited. 3 more signings to show, and I think this summer transfer window was the summer of good value for money deals, really, because this was another really great deal financially. Lewis Cook has signed on a 5-year, 43 grand a week deal from Bournemouth as they failed to get promoted back to the Premier League for this season for just £8 million. That's an absolutely fantastic signing for still such a young man. 5 goals and 9 assists in 45 Championship games last year, was ever present at the Vitality Stadium, and this guy's got some great stats and really should be playing Premier League football. Now, when you look at his stats here, now, I gotta be honest, he's known for being a player that prefers to play deeper, either in the DM role or the CM role, primarily as a deep line playmaker, but really, I gotta be honest here, now, physically, he's not the quickest. Mentally, he's really solid, like all across the board, and I mean all across the board, but technically here, because he's got 13 dribbling, 14 first touch with 15 passing, and 13 technique ain't too bad either. Now, I know he's got the 14 tackling, and he's more natural playing deeper, but really, I think possibly he could be phased further forward. He's got 16 vision, 15 teamwork, 14 flair as well. The only letdown for Cook when playing further forward is that he's not got a finishing touch, or so it seems, with 10 for finishing and 9 for long shots. But otherwise, as an advanced playmaker, I think he could probably be phased further up through the pitch and possibly be the successor for Tom Cairney, who, as we know, last season was a bit of a letdown. So yeah, Cook in for £8 million, absolute steal, and a 5-year deal, 43 grand a week, and he's only 24 years old as well, so there's still a long time to go in his career. And again, I'm thinking possibly the media might describe him as a defensive midfielder, but maybe, just maybe, a masterstroke could be moving him further up the pitch. I guess I'll have to wait and see. So just 2 more signings to show in what was such a busy summer window. I don't know who to show you first though. Now, normally I'll leave the most exciting one for last, but I think I might show you him now instead and go with the more high-profile name for the final guy I'll show you. But anyway, they both play the same position. They're both new centre-halves, and I've got to say, talking of steals and good value for money deals, this guy looks like an absolute bargain buy at Craven Cottage here. Jerome Ongwene. Now, you've probably come across this guy in Football Manager if you played enough seasons in. This guy is a really awesome young centre-back in the game, and we snapped him up from RB Salzburg for just £5 million. What a dirt cheap deal for a great young centre-half in the game. Now, last year he spent a whole season out in the Serie A playing for Genoa, was very ever-present in their team there, averaging just under a 7.0, which is very impressive indeed for such a young centre-half. When you look at his stats here as well, again, he's only 23 years old. He'll turn 24 in December, but for £5 million, I mean, that could prove to be an absolute bargain in years to come. Now, this guy's really physical, some great physical stats here. You can see he's quite quick as well with a 15 pace too, which is very important when we're playing a high defensive line, with 15 for strength and 14 jumping with 16 balance as well. Mentally, again, some absolutely fantastic stats here. I mean, really awesome for a no-nonsense centre-half. He's got 14 aggression, 17 for bravery as well, 17 determination, 15 work rate, 14 teamwork, the holy trio for me, and 15 positioning, so key on a centre-back. And you look at his defensive stats too, not the best to begin with. He's only 23 years old, 13 for heading and marking, with 14 for tackling. I hope the passing can get a little bit better as he starts to play out from the back, but otherwise, this guy looks absolutely superb. And for 5 million, that could prove to be a bargain in years to come. And the contract ain't bad either, only 30 grand a week on a 4-year deal. That's pretty decent there, I must say. There is a big minimum fee release clause to clubs in the Champions League for 18 mil, so if he does progress really quickly in 2 or 3 years, that might well get activated, but I guess it depends on how he starts here in the Premier League. Looks fantastic though, again, for £5 million, just 23 years old. I think he and Tosin could be the long-term future centre-half partnership here at Craven Cottage. He looks fantastic. So for the 7th and final signing, his upside might not be quite as high as Jerome, but I'd say he's probably now become our best centre-half in this team. And after losing Joachim Andersen going back to France, I need to replace him suitably, and I certainly think I've done that. Welcome to Craven Cottage. Tyrone Mings, what a fantastic signing here for Fulham. Now, when I mentioned that Aston Villa were relegated in the season finale, I said I'll be looking to snap up some players from either them, Sheffield United or West Brom. I'll be honest, he wasn't my number one target from Aston Villa. I really wanted Ollie Watkins, but in the end, Mings is still a great player to pick up. He's won 2 caps for England, 2 caps for his country, and he's got some brilliant stats, and we signed him for £14 million, with clauses could rise to 16 million, though there's a chance that might well not happen. He's not the reason Aston Villa went down last season, no doubt about that. Was ever present in their team for the past 2 years since joining permanently from Bournemouth, and again, he's got some absolutely superb stats as well. Anderson was such a top-class centre-half. I needed another one to replace him going, and Mings definitely will. Now, he's 6'5", so really tall, and you know we're good from dead ball situations as well, so that was what drew me to him initially, with the 15 jumping, and again, physically all across the ball, quite balanced, so I'm surprised his strength is not as high as I thought it probably would be. Mentally, reads the game really well, 16 bravery, 16 determination, 14 positioning. I love the 16 leadership on Tyrone as well. I think last season, that's probably one thing we were lacking a little bit in our first team. Not many leaders on the pitch, because Kenny's leadership stat I think is only 11, but technically as well, not bad at all. 15 for heading, 15 for passing, so a great ball playing centre-back in this team with 14 tackling, 13 technique with 13 marking as well. So yeah, pretty decent signing. The contract is quite expensive. It's 50 grand a week on a 5-year deal, but guess it could have been worse. It's far better than some of the contracts that Fulham had last season, and the only real red flag with Tyrone Mings is, as Aston Villa fans would know, as Bournemouth fans would know, he does have a bit of a problem with injuries. Yeah, as you can see. Where's the there is medical report. He does have a bit of a problem with injuries. He broke his lower leg right towards the end of last season, and he's actually come in injured, still at the specialist right now, and probably won't feature for the first couple of months. So, bit of a gamble on Tyrone Mings, but the upside again could be really high. I definitely see him possibly becoming future captain when he hits 29 or 30. So yeah, in the end, as you can see in the transfer window, now this is really interesting. For some reason, 3 of the signings from last season, for this season, got counted towards last season. I don't know why that is. That's never happened in FM for me before. Ordinarily, even if you complete a deal towards the end of last season before the new season has officially started, it will still show up as a signing for the new season. So I don't really know why that's happened there. Possibly due to the coronavirus pandemic making the season last season shorter and ending a little bit later than normal. I don't know, but kind of annoying because it means that I've got to do the maths myself to calculate how expensive the window actually was. So in the end, we spent 20 million on these 4 new signings here, plus, wait for it, that's 28, that's 34, that's 39 and 3/4, so just shy of 40 million for the new season. It's so funny because you remember the last episode I was saying, we've been given a budget of 37 million, but that's too much. I'm not going to spend all of that. I spent more than that. So I spent more than that, and that's why, as you can see, a little bit concerning. We're 6 million in the red. I discussed in the last episode, you never like to do that. That's exactly what I've done for the second bloody season of the saves. Yeah, whilst there's 15 million of transfer budget remaining before the window slams shut, I'm definitely not putting us in any more of a financial negative situation. So hopefully the balance will increase over time with the TV money and whatnot, because that's a bit concerning. But what's not is this. Oh yes, this barely ever happens in Football Manager in an RTG, but I'm so happy to see it. We've actually reduced our wage budget from last season. It took a spike in the summer with a few new signings, but after all the loan deals expired, it's gone down to lower than it was last season. It's the lowest it's been since I took over. Now that is handling the finances well in that regard. I mean, not too much in this regard, but still. So moving away from Fulham very briefly, do you want to show what happened in the European Championships in the summer? Of course, it was delayed for a year due to the coronavirus pandemic. As you can see, Germany beat Holland in the final, but unfortunately, I do have to apologise for this, guys. I totally forgot to delete the fake player file in this year's FM. So for those who don't play FM, basically due to licensing issues, Germany, and I think there's one or two other countries as well, I'm not sure, it might just be Germany, I think it's one or two other countries as well, basically due to licensing issues, their national team is greyed out and used with fake players, and no real players get call-ups and so on and so forth. So very, very sorry about that. Totally forgot to disable the file. I normally do it. I normally delete it at the start of an FM save, but totally forgot about this time. Sorry about that, guys. But yeah, Germany were the winners with a load of fake players in their team, being Holland in the final. We had 3 representatives, 2 of which are on loan. That was Anderson and also Areola, I believe. But where can I just real quickly? Thank you. But also we did have Connor Roberts going though. Connor Roberts went with Wales, and as you can see, they qualified through Group E, managed to get into the round of 16. I'm doing this wrong. I'm doing. How do I? Hold on a second, guys. Tree, is that right? There we go, tree. So yeah, they got into the second round, as you can see, got through Portugal in the second round, but were knocked out by the eventual winners Germany in the quarter. So fair play to Connor Roberts getting them through there. England made it through to the semis, losing to the eventual runners-up Holland as well. So that was the European Championship. A couple things to show you as well with Fulham behind the scenes as well. First things first with myself. My contract still expires come the end of the year. I might ask for a new deal midway through the season if we're in good form. Normally the board will accept that request. I'm now studying for a national A license. I think that will be getting completed within the next month or two, I believe, if my maths is right. And also very briefly discussed this on Twitter yesterday as well. Due to my graphics on my Mac, it really doesn't mean much, but Craven Cottage, as you can see, has completed a stadium expansion and has gone up to 29.7 thousand for capacity. I've mentioned before, I've been to Craven Cottage once or twice, or just once, can't remember. Well, I've been there anyway. But Craven Cottage, one of my favourite stadiums in the country. It's such a lovely old ground with a pavilion. It backs onto the Thames. It's glorious, and with their stadium redevelopment as well, it's going to look like a brilliant mix of modern and historic architecture. I'm such a nerd when it comes down to architecture of stadiums, but it's absolutely glorious. A fabulous stadium to look at aesthetically, and a real old school ground, but now becoming modernised as well. It's really, really cool. I love grounds like that, and Craven Cottage, one of my favourites. Absolutely glorious place. Definitely worth a visit if you're ever in West London. So real briefly then on the team, as you can see for the new season, have we made improvements from last year? I mean, with all the loan players, I mean, look, Anderson and Areola, it was always going to be hard to replace them, there's no doubt about it. And when you look at the team report here for the new season with the squad depth as well, I'll say this, we've got better through the middle of the park. There's no doubt about that with the signs of Gagliardini and Lewis Kirk, Lamina coming back permanently as well. I'd say we've gotten better at centre-half, despite losing Anderson, with the arrivals of Mings and Jerome as well. But we've definitely gotten weaker in goal because, as you would have noticed, I haven't replaced Areola at all. I'm making a massive gamble here. I've given Marek Rodak the number 1 jersey for this season because his stats actually aren't bad at all. 14 1-on-1s, 15 reflexes, 14 positioning, 15 agility. 6'5". I mean, I'm making a big gamble here, but I'm giving Rodak the number 1 jersey, and we'll see how he gets on here as our starting goalkeeper in the Premier League. I think the team has gone slightly better, but only slightly. I knew it was going to be hard, and I think I've probably done the best I could have. Now, as for the dynamic side with Fulham, this is probably my favourite aspect in Football Manager nowadays. Such a great inclusion to the game a couple of years ago. We do have 3 player issues here. Honor is asking to leave as he's worried that Gagliardini will take his position, and that's kind of weird because whilst Onoma is primarily or naturally considered a central base player, we know last season, of course, he normally played as an inside forward or winger. Either way, he wants to leave. Hopefully, I'll talk him around during the season. Knockhart's come back and wants a new deal, and it's like, bro, wait until you played a few games first, and I'll consider it. And also Camera as well. I accidentally left him out of the training camp squad. I know you guys make these same mistakes as me. Don't judge me. I know you guys have done this before. Sometimes you'll leave a player out by accident. Yeah, sorry about that, Abubakar. Hopefully I'll talk him round as the season goes on. Just one of those sort of like little blips, little mistakes that you make. You just think, for God's sake, how did I miss him out? But anyway, team cohesion is good, club atmosphere is good for the most part, and the managerial support is good as well. Although I don't like this one. You have a number of players that don't get on well with you. I'll talk him round. As for the hierarchy, as you can see, Kenny and Mitrovic remain the captain and vice-captain here. Only the 2 team leaders so far. I hope that Zamba will become a team leader as the season goes on. I'm buzzing I've managed to keep hold of him for another season here, though I don't know how much longer I'll keep hold of him. I think he's too good for this team, really. But Zamba hopefully will become a team leader at some point. I definitely see him at some point becoming vice-captain of this team. And also there's the influential and other players in the hierarchy list. Now, for the social groups, there are 4 splits, but as I always say, at the start of a new season, when you've made loads and loads of change, this is very natural, this is very common. As the season goes on, they'll start to gel. What you want is practically everyone in the core group, or the main WhatsApp group as I call it. But yeah, for the most part, this is kind of to be expected. As time goes on, they'll start to gel better. So I think that's basically that for the very long introduction to the season opener at home to Leicester. Just before we do play it though, I want to show you the pre-season results and also our competition expectations this year. And now once again, the board is saying so, we've got to avoid relegation. Last year was fight bravely against relegation. This year the minimum expectation is the team avoid relegation from the Premier League this year. That's going to be hard to do again. Obviously, last season we finished in 15th place. We had a horrendous mid-season where it was looking like we were very likely to go down. That's why I signed Pele, Ruddock and Panzu, just in case we were playing Championship football for next season. And once again, the media do predict we will be a team that struggled to survive. I don't know whether I'll be able to keep my job if we go down for season 3. I am very 50-50 on whether we can avoid relegation again, because again, has our team gotten better than last year? I'd say it's about the same, ability-wise. I think we're better than a couple of teams, like Brentford and Cardiff, that have both come up, but are we good enough to avoid the bottom 3 for a second straight year? With so much change to our team, I'm not entirely sure. And if we do go down, with my contract come the end of the year, I'm not sure the board would keep me on like the Norwich board did. I guess we'll have to wait and see. Anyway, for the FA Cup, the board wants to reach the 5th round. Last year, not tight in the 3rd round by Aston Villa, and the 4th round, the Carabao Cup, though, to be honest, I don't really care about that at all, so not bothered about expectation. Again, the only thing that matters to me in the first 2 or 3 years is just keeping Premier League football at Craven Cottage. If we can do that, I'm happy as Larry. As of pre-season, as you can see, we had a bit of a mixed pre-season after our tour of China. 3 defeats and a couple of get the testosterone flowing games going as well against nearby sides. We didn't win by as many goals as normal, but still the boys got their testosterone flying. That's always nice to see. So I think that's about it for the very long introduction. So let's get into the new season. We are indeed starting off with Leicester at home. Last year we won the season opener away against Newcastle at St James's Park. I'm not sure Lightning's going to strike twice, especially against the Foxes. So heading into the game, as you can see, we will be sticking with our 4-2-3-1 control possession style of play. Haven't changed the instructions whatsoever so far. You will notice there's a 3rd tactic in my slot. That is a 5-2-1-2 tiki-taka preset. Just because if you've been on my channel for a while, you'll know I very rarely move away from playing 4 at the back. I wouldn't be against experimenting a little bit though, although if we're in really poor form midway through the season, I'm definitely not changing from one of our 2 main presets. But you never know, 3 at the back, 5 at the back, I'm not against trying it at some point. Now on the injury report from pre-season, as you can see, Alfie Mawson, who came back from his loan spell, he is down with a pulled abdominal muscle. Kenny Tate is out with the same injury as well. Tyrone Mings, as we know, has come back with that broken lower leg. We won't see him for the first couple of months of the new season. Dan James also is out with a bruised thigh for the season opener. So 2 of our new signings not even going to feature today. And thus this will be our team for the season opener. We've got Rodak, big shoes to fill from Areola in goal. That for us Robinson, Jerome, Adarabayo and Connor Roberts. Lewis Cook makes his debut alongside Zambo. Caballero's on the left, Knockout, who came out from loan, is on the right, and Kenny supports our top scorer last year, Bobby Reed. If he doesn't have the red hot start like he did last season, I think we're going to be in trouble. On the bench, Ashby Hammond, Porteous, Lamina, Gagliardini, Reed, Onomah and Mitrovic as well. First game of the season, it's Leicester. Come on, Fulham. Quite nervous already. I forgot to mention, I can't just click on him there. I'll quickly go back now, actually, whilst I can. Can I go there? No, I can't. Oh, I just gave him the... I just gave him the team talk. I didn't realise I was handing it over to him. I just wanted to show you him. Yeah, I discussed on Twitter earlier today. Frank Lampard, my new right-hand man. Basically, funnily enough, Stuart Gray, who was the assistant manager, he's gone to Leicester. So that means that I need a new right-hand man. And I normally choose like a former player or a former player of mine or a former legend in one of my saves. But I saw Frankie Lampard was available. Always been a fan of Frank. Always liked Lampard. So proper Chelsea, but now he's the assistant manager for Fulham. Very interesting timeline indeed. Anyway, half through the season opener, still 0-0. I'll take this. You know, I must be honest, for the new season as well, I was very tempted to take the captain's armband off Tom Kearney. Obviously, last season he was a bit of a letdown, as Vardy's through 1-on-1, and oh, what a challenge by Jerome on his debut. Goal was saving to keep it at 0-0. But yeah, Kearney only has, I think, 11 for leadership. He is now 30 years old and will turn 31 during the season. He's going to need to get phased out of the team at some point for younger options. I discussed Lewis Cook possibly taking his place. I'm not a massive fan of the 11 leadership on my captain when I need someone to lead out there. So yeah, at some point, I think I will replace him. And I was so tempted to do it this season as well. But in the end, opted to keep it with him. Long way to go though, and Leicester are looking dangerous here as Jerome hooks it away. And Knockout, formerly of Leicester, plays back to Tosin and will pass out from the back. Yeah, a couple of players that have returned from loan last year, like Knockout, with a brilliant ball. Oh, Reed! There was his moment, puts it wide. I am going to give the chance to keep themselves here. Anthony Knockout probably being the most noteworthy one, as he will start quite a few games for us. Mawson staying as well as a backup centre-half. But anyway, 0-0 at half-time. Jerome's been superb. Defensively looking good. And Rodak so far is keeping a clean sheet on a 7.0. Definitely can see Leicester getting in front at some point. I know Jerome and Tosin are looking good at the back, but can they handle Jamie Vardy for another half an hour with his supporting cast? Harvey Barnes. And as Dennis plays a great through ball, Maddison's through, bottom corner, 1-0 Leicester. Assistant not moving though. I think that's getting called off. Wait for the VAR check. There it is. I gotta say, it's interesting that you now have the VAR sort of like box come up, and the goal is indeed disallowed for offside as well. But I guess to be fair, it's not quite as slow as last year. Remember last year, it was so slow when making a decision, and they barely ever got overturned. But yeah, I guess for realism, as Reed is denied by Schmeichel, it's quite a nice feel, and Reed was offside as well. Anyway, still 0-0. I'll take this. Do you think VAR will be scrapped, by the way? I mean, they spent so much money implementing it. As Daniel Podence beats Robinson and fires it into the bottom corner, and there is the breakthrough. I got to say, I think VAR will continue for a while, but if the situation doesn't improve, then surely sooner rather than later they'd have to scrap it or do something with it, maybe like a coach's challenge or something like in the NBA. I don't know. But Podence with a goal, a bit of an unlucky goal, that one as well. Robinson with a tackle, it deflected straight back to him, and he turns it into the bottom corner. 1-0. Felt the goal was coming at some point, and there it is. But a chance to respond. Oh God, this guy, the best striker in FM, get in. Knockout of an assist since returning in his first game for the club, and I talked about it pre-game. Bobby Reed, the best striker in Football Manager, 1-1, already cancelled out Leicester's goal. What a response. Right, I'm bringing on Reed for Kearney. I don't like Kearney. I don't like Kearney, to be honest. I know he's our captain. I should have taken the armband off him. I don't see him as a leader out there. And I've brought on Lewis Cook to play in that advanced playmaker role for the final 5 minutes, as Reed will drop deeper, as Onomah plays it into Lewis Cook, and that's a good ball out wide towards Robinson. Again, he's got the vision. He's got the vision and the passing. Reed! Oh, what a chance to win it. Schmeichel with the save. Corner. Fulham, and you know we're good from set pieces. Knockout looking for his second assist, a chance to turn the game on its head. Anthony headed away by Evans. Oliver off the bench. Oh, Sambo, yes! Please never leave us, Sambo. You might be my future captain, bro. We are so good from set pieces in FM, and it's so funny as well because the past couple of years, particularly 2 years ago with Cardiff, I talked about it. Defending corners was almost impossible. Oh, how to turn tables, the shoes on the other foot. Surely that's got to be us winning on the opening day. Don't throw it away now, as Knockout skips around Johnny Evans. Back to Lewis Cook, Reed takes over, and now Zambo, who might be the game winner, launches it along towards Robinson. What on earth was that? So, okay, we got it back here. Roberts to Reed, and Bobby denied. I think the flag was up anyway. Yeah, it was indeed, so wouldn't have counted, but we're almost there, and that will do it. What a start on the opening day, baby. Back-to-back season openers ending in a victory. Absolutely buzzing. Fell behind, got back in it for a you-know-who, and then Zambo with the game winner. Good win, boys. Well done. Buzzing with that. Back-to-back season opener victories. Gleaming. You know, I really don't know whether our team has got more quality than last season, but what I'll say is this. I much prefer it. I much prefer it to last season. I know we'll miss Anderson. I know we'll miss Lookman. I know we'll miss Areola for sure, no doubt about that. But having players in permanently that have got those great mental stats, this is the sort of core that I was hoping to build. These are the sort of players that I hope will stay with us for a while. Again, Jerome Ongwene, Tyrone Mings coming in, Lewis Cook. You know, these are the sort of players I hope will stay for the long term. And what a start. Fulham winning on the opening day. Absolutely buzzing. But that was this episode on the Football Manager series, guys. We thank you for watching. If you have enjoyed it, if you have, then please drop a like. Much love to you all. Have a fantastic day. I'll return with games against, I can't miss that one there. Brentford away. That's going to be absolutely huge. And possibly the Saints at home, or maybe the Toffees instead. I'm not entirely sure. I'll have a think. Have a great day there, guys. Much love to you all. And I'll see you for the next episode in my Football Manager series very soon.